I didn't feel lonely until I fell in love. Now that's not entirely true, as we all have periods of loneliness, especially when you're a digital nomad like myself. But I did not think that entering the best relationship of my life would make me feel lonelier than ever in a different kind of way. Because leading up to this relationship, I could go on dates every week. I could text someone at midnight and get a reply. I wouldn't necessarily know from whom, but there would be someone to reply to me if I needed to talk. I could meet someone new every Friday, or Sunday, or Wednesday. I had attention, constant dopamine, never-ending options. Then I met one person I really cared about, and suddenly I couldn't sleep. Here's what happened. I'm 35, living in São Paulo, an enormous metropolis like a New York or Beijing, but in Latin America. My family lives in Canada. I've jumped cities my entire life trying to find the right place, which means that I've left friends, family, and all relationships behind. And because São Paulo is so new, I don't really have anybody here yet. And then I got a little sick. Nothing dramatic, but enough to make me feel, wow, I would like to have someone in my life to take care of me when times get tough. It is not good to feel weak and alone. And for the first time in my life, I thought, if something serious happens, which it always does, who's here to support me? Casual dating can fill a night, but it does not build your life. Yes, casual dating is very easy and fun and light. No pressure, no commitments, no real feelings, no attachment. If someone annoyed me, you just disappear. There's always another app to give you validation in minutes. There's always someone new. And with someone new, you never have to really reveal yourself. You never feel exposed. Again, there's no future planning. It's just the here and the now. But yes, it's shallow. It feels good, but it doesn't really make you feel safe. I really wanted a relationship. And once I found the perfect girl, that's when the anxiety took on a whole new level. Now it's just one person. Now everything matters. Now there's something to lose. You start thinking unwantingly all these terrible, jealous, worst-case scenario thoughts. Like, who's that texting her right now? Who's making her laugh? Who's standing next to her at 2 a.m.? You also start thinking about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Marriage? Divorce. What happens when the honeymoon phase inevitably ends? What if she changes? Physically, emotionally, spiritually. What if you change? What if you discover fundamental differences later in life that are insurmountable? What happens if one of you wakes up one day and feels nothing? It's insane how fast your brain runs, and awful that it does it at night. Thankfully, this does not mean you're crazy, even though it feels like you're going crazy. These are attachment issues, insecurity issues. Psychologists like John Bowlby have built attachment theory around these sorts of mechanisms. When you bond, your nervous system activates. Love turns on your threat detection system. You start feeling anxious. And when you're anxious, you scan for danger. And when you scan for danger, you'll always find something. You imagine abandonment before it happens. You rehearse all of these terrible scenarios in your head. And the more you seem to care, the louder it gets. Modern dating does not help. Dating apps make you realize that there's an abundance of everything for everyone. There's always another option. There's always another match. But then you start dating someone and you eliminate those options even though they're still circulating around. But now it's scarcity. And so you're trying to protect that one person. You went from infinite optionality, which is not scary at all, to singularity. One person. One person that can make or break you. Of course there's going to be anxiety. And at 35, it just hits different because I never felt this way before. I don't know if I've always been an insecure person or if I was good at hiding it or I really wasn't that insecure when I was younger just because I didn't care. But now at 35, everything has changed. At 22, you date for fun. At 35, you date with consequences. You think about time. You don't want to waste a single day. And certainly not a year. At this age, there's no point dating someone if you aren't imagining forever. But believing it could last means believing it could break. It could end and rip you apart. And then the anxiety starts affecting you physiologically. The scenarios, as we talked about, and the sleepless nights. And when you don't sleep, everything goes downhill. Your health, your memory, your mood. I started getting angry for no reason. I wanted to break things. I was always worried about everything. It makes the relationship feel harder. Always stressing about where she is, what she's doing, why she's not responding. This leads to more anxiety, which leads to even less sleep, which leads to lowering your mood even further. And what's actually going on here? It's really not jealousy. It's a bit of insecurity, but it's really coming from a place of love. You love someone so much and realize that so much of it is out of your control. You want to control the outcome. You want to live the happily forever after. But it takes two to tango. All you can do is love the other person and be your best self. Half the relationship is out of your control. The outcome is out of your control. You cannot eliminate risk, and you cannot force forever. Casual dating protects you from risk. Serious dating exposes all the possible risk. So you have to start separating evidence from imagination. It's terrible that you can know you trust this person and still have all those terrible images and situations running around through your mind. But what evidence do you have that anything like this is ever going to happen? Is this pattern or projection? Definitely projection. Are you living your life reacting to reality or hypotheticals? Anxiety always says, yeah, what if? What if? What if the worst case scenario happens? Well, you can go back to your fun single life. But evidence speaks in facts. Follow the facts. You have to get your body in check. Daily exercise, cold showers, meditation. When those terrible thoughts start happening in your head, think about the likelihood and end the thought right there. You don't have to say stop and just try and eliminate it completely, because it will return. But you don't have to let yourself think through all the terrible details. Look at the situation from an outside perspective and go, that's wild. But that's never happened. And the likelihood of that happening is very low. And in exactly the way I'm thinking about it, 0. Ask yourself, would I ever do that to this person that I love with all my heart? Never. Why would they do it to me? What I need to do is build a life outside the relationship. Because in São Paulo, I have the relationship and my remote job from home and CrossFit. So I don't have a lot of distractions. A lot of my anxiety comes from isolation. I love being around people, but I chose a life that leaves me by myself most of the time. She became my entire world, my entire ecosystem, which is not a healthy thing. I need to invest more in friendships, in community. I need to diversify my emotional support, and I'm working on it. But we need to accept that risk is the price for our love. There is no deep love without vulnerability. There is no commitment without uncertainty. You can't get rid of anxiety. You just have to learn to live with it and not let it freak you out. Psychologists call this distress tolerance. You should be able to sit with some discomfort at any given time without acting impulsively. Now here's the honest truth. I thought that the casual dating I was doing made me strong, but it was just making me comfortable. Loving someone reveals your real insecurities, and I hope that you can work through them with your partner. Being in love forces you to confront control issues, to confront abandonment fears. But all of this just shows that you care. New relationship anxiety is proof that you're choosing something real, with depth, with meaning. If you're feeling this right now, trust me, you're not weak. There's nothing wrong with you. You're attached to this person. You're a human being. Terrible things do happen in a lot of relationships, but it does not mean that it's going to happen in yours. Work on your nervous system. Work on your independence. Work on your relationship. Always communicate, and do not let anxiety sabotage the most amazing thing that's ever happened in your life. I think that growth feels unstable before it feels secure, and love, real love, always carries risk. All right, builders, see you every Sunday. And remember that growth in a relationship means knowing you're going to have to suffer, but hopefully the benefits outweigh the cost. Brick by brick, we'll get there. Valeu!